Not every brother is born in the same womb. Some are found in the trenches of life. Lamin and Sainey were one soul in two bodies, inseparable, loyal, and bound by a friendship that defied bloodlines. But life has a cruel way of testing loyalty. What do you do when the person you die for is the one planning your funeral? Once upon a time in the heart of Bakau, a bustling coastal town in the Gambia, two friends moved through life like twin shadows. Lamin and Saini weren't related by blood, but if you saw them together, you'd think they shared the same mother. They had known each other since secondary school days. Through sandy football fields, fish markets, failed business trials, and heartbreaks, Lamin and Saini stood by each other like loyal soldiers. To the outside world, they were brothers. To each other, they were oxygen. But not all friendships are what they seem. On a warm Tuesday afternoon, just 2 days ago, Lamin sat on the front steps of his small compound, sipping a tired tea, when Saini arrived, sweaty, shaking, and anxious. Lamin, I don't even know how to say this, but I need your help badly, Saini said, wiping his forehead. Lamin dropped his cup instantly. What happened? Saini looked down, shame painted all over his face. Everything don't fall apart. The shop, the goose, my landlord. My woman left me last week. Lamin, I'm drowning. Without hesitation, Lamin pulled a plastic chair for him. Sit, talk to me properly. Tears filled Saini's eyes. I owe people. My last consignment got stolen at the border. I borrowed money from some boys, bad boys. If I'm not paying in 2 weeks, they will come for me. Lamin's heart clenched. He knew the street. He knew what bad boys meant. That wasn't just a warning. That was a death sentence in the Gambians underworld. How much? Lamin asked calmly. 20 million naira. In Gambian Dalasi, it's 1 million Dalasi. But I swear to God, Lamin, I'll pay you back in 6 months. Give me one more chance. There was silence. Only the chirping of the birds and the gentle wind from the coast filled the air. Lamin stood, walked into his room and opened his locked drawer. Inside, wrapped in a black nylon, was the business loan he had just received from a Lebanese investor. Money meant for his own container of electronics. He bought it out. You'll pay me in 6 months. No stories. Saini couldn't believe it. He grabbed the bag, knelt and cried, Lamin, you're my angel. Wallahi, I swear, I won't fail you. Lamin smiled faintly. Get up, man. You are my brother. Let's rise together. But what Lamin didn't know was that the same night, Saini sat in a dimly lit lodge and made a chilling phone call. Tonight, around 1 a.m., 4 of you. He lives alone. The guards won't be there. Do it clean, no noise. I'll transfer the balance when I confirm he's gone. The call ended. He lit a cigarette, his hands shaking. I'm sorry, Lamin, he muttered, but I can't pay that debt. The night was unusually quiet in Bakau. The usual chatter from the roadside tea spots had died down. Even the goats that often roam freely through the streets seemed to have vanished into the shadows. Lamin couldn't sleep. His eyes stared blankly at the spinning ceiling fan above. A strange weight sat on his chest, a warning from a part of his soul he had learned never to ignore. Something was off. He rose from the bed and walked to his window. Peeking through the wooden blinds, the streets were empty. Only the humming street lamp flickered at the far end. He rubbed his chest. Still heavy, he reached for his phone and typed a message to Saini. Oh boy, you don't reach home. The receipt read seen, but there was no reply. Strange. He checked his front gate twice. Locked. Then he moved back inside. locking his bedroom door as well. His German shepherd, Kunta, backed once from the backyard, then whined. Lamin tiptoed toward the back door. As he unlocked it slowly, Kunta burst in, growling toward the fence. Goosebumps crawled over Lamin's skin. He picked up his cutlass from behind the door and whispered, "Who did here?" There was no answer. Suddenly, a thud, the sound of the side wall being scaled. Then another, then silence. His heart thundered. Lamin dialed the local Bakau police station. "Officer, abeg, send patrol to my compound now. I feel something is off. I think I'm in danger." They promised to come in 10 minutes, but time moved like syrup. Then it happened. A loud bang. The front gate exploded open, followed by fast, calculated footsteps. Four men, dressed in black, gloved, masked, entered with chilling precision. One held a silenced pistol, another had a machete. They moved straight to the main door, quiet, no shouting, no panic, professionals. But Lamin had lived in Bakau all his life. He knew his compound like his own breath. He grabbed a small table, tilted it across the entrance of his bedroom, and switched off all the lights. He held his breath. The door creaked open slowly. One of the men entered. The flashlight's beam scanned the room. Suddenly, Kunta lunged. A loud crash, a cry of pain, then chaos. Lamin used the moment. He burst through the back door into the small corridor that led to his garage. He slammed the door behind him, jamming it with a broomstick, panting, trembling, then sirens. At last, the police had arrived. The killers fled through the backyard but were intercepted. One tried to jump the back fence. He was shot in the leg. Another ran into the vegetable garden and was caught by Kunta. Two others vanished into the alleyways, but one was captured alive. As he lay handcuffed and bloodied, Lamin stood over him, his eyes burning with disbelief. "Who sent you?" Lamin asked. The man stayed quiet. But then, one of the officers recognized the mark on the attacker's arm, a tattoo known to belong to a group of contract killers who operated discreetly between Senegal and the Gambia. The officer turned to Lamin. "You need to come to the station with us. This is bigger than a robbery." Lamin nodded slowly, but inside, his world has already cracked. The fluorescent lights buzzed in the corner of the interrogation room. The walls were damp. The air hung thick with sweat and tension. Lamin sat at the far end, face stone still, heart thundering louder than any storm he'd ever known. Across the table sat the captured gunman, muscular, dark-skinned, maybe in his late 30s, with a cracked jaw and a bullet wound in his thigh. His wrists were cuffed tight to the metal table. Two officers stood by the door. One leaned in, slamming his hand on the table. "Speak now. Who sent you?" There was silence. Another slap. This one louder. "Talk before I make you forget your own name." The officer backed. Still, the man stayed silent. His eyes darted around, lips tight. Lamin couldn't take it. He stood, stepped forward and whispered, "Look at me, please." The man glanced at him, then away. Lamin's voice cracked. "Do you even know whose house you entered? You came to kill me. Why?" The man hesitated. Then, like a dam bursting, he spoke. "Your name?" "Lamin Jata." "We were given photos, address, routine, dog, get luck, everything." Lamin froze. "Who gave you?" The killer exhaled hard. "A man, young. He called himself Jabali. He met us at a lodge in Banjul, paid in cash, promised more after, gave strict instruction, said it must look like a robbery gone wrong." The officer leaned in, described his face. The man looked Lamin dead in the eye. "Same face as yours, in that photo? Lamin blinked. What photo? The officer pulled out a brown envelope. Inside was Lamin's ID photo, a printed map of his house, and a snapshot of him and Saini together, laughing, arms slung over each other's shoulder, outside a beach bar. Lamin took a step back. Where did you get this? The killer shrugged. He gave it to us. Lamin grabbed the photo with shaking hands. He flipped it over. Written in ink, Lamin, job must be done silently. I don't want drama. Below it, SD. SD? His knees buckled. The officer caught him before he hit the floor. Saini? Lamin whispered, his voice hollow. He stood again, hands shaking, jaw clenched. Saini Darobe? My best friend? He asked the killer. The man nodded slowly. If that's his real name, he knew you very well. Lamin's world collapsed in that instant. He saw flashes, Saini laughing with him, crying on his shoulder, borrowing his clothes, sleeping in his house when he was broke, and now planning his death. The betrayal wasn't just a cut, it was a dagger twisted through the heart. One officer whispered, "We'll issue a warrant, he won't get far." But Lamin wasn't thinking of the police anymore. He was thinking of why. Why would Saini do this? Was money more important than brotherhood? Or had the envy been there all along, quietly growing like mold in the dark? He left the station around dawn. The sun rose over Bakau like a cruel joke, bright, golden, warm, as if the night hadn't just tried to kill him. He walked home slowly. Kunta ran to him, limping slightly but wagging his tail. Lamin knelt and hugged the dog tightly. "You saved me, my boy." But even Kunta couldn't protect his soul from what was coming next. He opened his gates and sat on the steps. Then his phone rang. Saini was calling. Lamin stared at the screen. His hand trembled. His thumb hovered over the answer button. He pressed it. The phone rang like a snake hissing in Lamin's ear. Saini Darubi calling. For the first time in his life, Lamin felt his finger hesitate. He had faced business losses, betrayal, heartbreak, but this wasn't just betrayal. This was a funeral planned by a brother. He answered, "Hello?" A short silence, then that familiar voice. "Lamin." It was calm, too calm, like nothing had happened. Lamin's breath was shallow. He didn't speak. He listened. Saini chuckled lightly. "I just wanted to say thank you again. You've been really good to me, bro." Lamin's heart clenched. "You called to thank me?" "Yeah," Saini said slowly. "And to say sorry for everything you might hear." He paused. "Things are getting messy, aren't they?" Lamin's eyes narrowed. "You mean the 4 men that broke into my house to kill me last night?" Dead silence. Saini didn't speak for 6 seconds. Then, "So they failed." No panic, no guilt, just that. Lamin whispered, "Why, Saini? You could have told me you needed more time. You didn't have to try to kill me." Saini laughed quietly like a tired man. "You don't get it, Lamin. You gave me money like I was a beggar. You pitied me. I could see it in your eyes." Lamin's brows furrowed. "I helped you because I loved you like a brother." Saini's voice shifted. "That's the problem. You were always above me, always the one helping. You had everything. I had nothing. It was never a friendship. It was a charity disguised as loyalty." Lamin gritted his teeth. "So you decided to end me?" Saini's voice cracked for the first time. "I was tired of owing, tired of living in your shadow. I just wanted to disappear. I never planned to confess, but I guess it's over now." Lamin could feel tears stinging his eyes, but he wouldn't let them fall. "Where are you?" Saini sighed. "Does it matter?" "Yes." There was another pause. "Kololi, I'm by the old fishing dock." But don't send the police. I just wanted to hear your voice one last time. Click. The call ended. Lamin stood slowly. He walked back into the house, sat on the edge of his bed. His mother's voice echoed in his mind. No matter how deep a wound, God can turn it to wisdom, but you must not become like them. He told the police, "Don't shoot him," he said. "Just bring him in." 2 hours later, the sun was high over Kololi. Lamin stood outside the police station as a van pulled in. They opened the back. Sainey stepped out, his hands cuffed, head down, no fight left in him. But Lamin saw no fear. He saw a broken man, a friend who let envy win. They stood face to face and then Lamin spoke. "You tried to bury me, Sainey, but you forgot something." Sainey looked up, eyes bloodshot. "What?" Lamin stepped closer, voice steady. "I'm a seed." Sainey blinked, and then Lamin did the unimaginable. He whispered to the officers, "Uncuff him. Let me speak to him alone." They hesitated but obeyed. The 2 men stood under the mango tree in silence. Finally, Lamin said, "You destroyed something sacred, but I won't let you destroy me." He took a long breath. "I forgive you, not for your sake, for mine." Saini dropped to his knees. He wept for the first time. Maybe it was guilt, maybe it was shame, maybe it was relief. But Lamin turned away, walked back toward his car and whispered, "Forgiveness doesn't erase consequences, but it frees the soul." Lamin walked toward his car, feeling a weight lifted from his shoulders. Though the scars of betrayal ran deep, he chose a path that many never dare: forgiveness. He knew Saini's actions had consequences. Justice would be served by the law. But Lamin's heart was free, free from the chains of hatred. It was in that freedom that he found true strength. Because sometimes the bravest thing is not to fight fire with fire, but to turn pain into peace. Sometimes the deepest wounds come from the hands we trusted the most. But forgiveness is not weakness, it's the strength to walk away without carrying the poison. What would you do if someone you loved tried to end you? Would you forgive or would you fight? This is the story of Lamin and Sainey, brothers by bond, torn apart by envy. The moral lesson of this story is that trust is sacred and betrayal cuts deep, but forgiveness is the seed that heals wounds and frees the soul. When life tests your faith in people, choose mercy over revenge. Holding on to anger only burns you from within, but letting go can transform pain into wisdom and peace. Justice is necessary, but forgiveness is power. Thank you so much for watching. If this story inspired you, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. To my new subscribers, you're welcome to my channel, and to my returning subscribers, thank you so much for always watching. Your support means the world to me. If you enjoy this story, don't stop here. Check out my other videos for more inspiring and emotional stories. Until next time, bye.